All right, glad to have you back. Yes, discussions at the 26th CITN Annual Conference will revolve around Nigeria's economy, focusing on manufacturing, broader economic issues, of course, all economic issues. Key topics include tax policy reforms, corporate governance, and, of course, addressing macroeconomic challenges with emphasis on CITN's recommendations and insights. Well, the conference will also explore CITN's role in promoting tax education and the significance of tax policy reforms in fostering economic growth and resilience, and importance of aligning Nigeria's tax agenda with global objectives. Well, I introduced them earlier. Two guests: the President, Chairman of Council, Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria, Mr. Samuel Agbelu, is live in the studio, and the Chairman of the 26th Annual Tax Conference, Dr. Adeyemi Sonny, would also be joining us via Zoom to continue this conversation. Thank you so much, and good afternoon to you. Good afternoon, Mr. President.
Good afternoon.
It's good to have you here.
Good to be here.
Yes, I'm sure from the fallout of my discussion with the governor, we've already started talking about some economic issues that you would like to comment on. But let me ask this way. Conferences hold year in, year out, and many will say, what really is different about this one?
Well, thank you for the question. It's always different. And life is dynamic. So what you did last year may not sustain what you need to do this year. So to that extent, we need to keep on talking. We need to keep on updating ourselves. We need to keep on educating ourselves. So this year, we have looked at the contemporary issues that will be necessary to move the country forward. And those are the things we are bringing forward during this conference. And I tell you, it's going to be a new dimension, because we have put a lot of plans into this program, to the conference.
I like to say that understanding our tax system in Nigeria at this time is something that is important before we now delve into the theme and the focus and why CITN has chosen that theme for this year. What is your understanding of our tax system at the moment, and what are we doing to make it better?
Well, the tax system, as we speak, is that one that has proved that it can support Nigerian system, the global, the Nigerian ecosystem. And that is key. And I make reference to the fact that NFPC for quite some time has not been coming to the table the way they were before. So FRS has done a lot of work to support the government of Nigeria by bringing a lot of revenue to the cover of the country. For the record, FRS had 12 trillion in 2023. And they are projecting to have to bring into the cover of the federal government of the federation 19 trillion in 2024. That is a major improvement. It could be better, but I can tell you the tax system is already supporting the government of the country, and it can do better.
Well, let's now look at the conference now for next week in focus now, the ATC conference. Tell us what more you want Nigerians to know.
We have a new government in place, new as 10 months or 11 months. And
almost 12 months now.
Yes, almost 12 months.
That's true.
And
time flies.
For all those who have observed issues at national level across the country, the current President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has brought another dynamism, another angle to the tax system. So he's focusing on improving what he met on ground, and he wants to do a lot, and the Institute is already supporting him, just as we supported previous government. Yes. Now, it is time to look at where we are. How do we create a culture of paying tax in the country? That is very critical. If you don't believe in it, you won't do it. So if you believe in it, it becomes a culture, and once it becomes a culture, you do it effortlessly. That is what we are trying to do, and we want to speak to all the stakeholders. I'm happy the governor of Nasarawa State just left the studio, and I'm happy for the way he's talking about the economic situation of Nasarawa State. We have for a very long time focused on the federal government, ignoring the subnational. True. This will not take us anywhere. There are a lot of things going on at the subnational. While we keep our focus on the federal government activities at the federal level, we must also know that there are a lot of things that need to happen at the subnational. And from what I know, from my point of view, or from CITM point of view, we can see that a lot of governors are buying into the new kind of vibe the President Tinubu has brought into government. Yeah. And so we owe Nigeria that responsibility to make sure that we support the knowledge required, because it is not enough to say, I want to improve tax revenue from one point to the other. You can't ignore the process. You ignore the process, you go nowhere. So, and we stand in a place to ensure that that process is properly channeled so that we can move from point A to point B.
I have Dr. Adeyemi Sonny now, FCTI, who is joining us from Abuja via Zoom. Good afternoon, Dr. Adeyemi. Thank you for your time.
Good afternoon.
Yes, thank you. I know you've been waiting. You've been standing by for us. Apologies for that. But let me start with asking you, yes, you are saddled with this big responsibility. You are the chairman of the tax conference. Tell us, what more do we need to know about this, and how well are plans in place to kick off by next week as planned?
Yeah, the conference is a flagship conference of the Institute. And the upcoming annual tax conference in Abuja is actually a significant event for professionals, policymakers, scholars, and all stakeholders that are interested in the tax system and the fiscal policy in Nigeria. Like I mentioned, it's going to be happening in Abuja at the Abuja Chamber of Commerce, which is on Airport Road, and the date is May 13th to May 17th, 2024. What are the key objectives of the conference? We are looking at policy dialogue. One of the main aims of the conference is to foster dialogue on tax policy reforms and enhancements. It's actually an opportunity for stakeholders to discuss ways to improve Nigeria's tax system for better compliance and increase revenue generation. Then we'll be looking at people networking, at the event, because it serves as a platform for professionals from various sectors to network, share ideas, and, collaborate on tax-related issues, basically. Then for those people that are not tax practitioners or tax consultants, is an opportunity to educate, the populace on tax matters in the country, because the conference will feature workshops, seminars, and presentations on various aspects of taxation, and providing valuable learning opportunities for all the attendees, both members and non-members alike. And it's going to showcase some innovation, some ideas in tax methodologies and technologies that we believe should come to the attention of people, basically. And in terms of speakers, we have high expert speakers that are going to be gracing the occasion. Maybe until we get to that when you want to know that, I'll be able to roll out some of the people that we'll be expecting.
Please go ahead and do that. Do that right away. Do that so that we move on.
Okay. So the conference is going to be having not less than, I think, about 4 state governors who will be gracing that occasion. I think I have His Excellency Malam Umar Namadi, the executive governor of Jigawa State, who has given us his words that he will be showing up at the conference. Also, we were in Sokoto to discuss with His Excellency Alhaji Ahmad Aliyu, the executive governor of Sokoto State, who is also going to show up for the conference. We were lucky to meet also with the governor of Kogi State, Alhaji Ahmed Usman Ododo, and who has given his words again that he will be there at the conference. Now, we have people, top people like Senator Ibikunle Amosun, former governor of Ogun State, and a distinguished senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, who will be presenting a paper at the event as well. Also, the Accountant General of the Federation, Dr. Mrs. Oluwatoyin Shakira Madein, will definitely be at the conference. And you will be seeing Mr. Ben Akabweze, who he happens to be the Director General of Budget Office of the Federation, who will be in attendance. The chairman of FIRS2, Dr. Zaka Dedeji, will be in attendance. Also, we have Elsia Tafua, Mrs., who is coming from United Nations Development Program, UNDP, who will be gracing the occasion. So this is just a number of part of those people who have signified interest, their attendance at the conference. And we're going to be having panel discussions. There will be in-depth panel discussions on critical topics, such as fiscal policy adjustment and revenue generation, and tackling tax evasion, and enhancing compliance, and other, sub topics that will be dealt with at the conference majorly.
Indeed, that's a lot. Thank you so much. Let me come back to the studio and ask the president, CITN. The overall theme is sustainable tax culture, an economic roadmap for nation building. At this time, I don't want to say we're at a crossroads where we have issues, economic issues, affecting our growth and development. How do you think conversations here would help shaping up our economic outlook?
Well, definitely it will. One thing that is certain about Nigeria and Nigerians is the capacity. Well, and any nation that has the kind of human resource we have in the country should not lack any idea to do things, and shouldn't lack the courage to implement. And I could see that is happening right away. You could feel there's governance as we speak in the country. A lot of policies coming up, a lot of decisions coming up, and it's good. On one or two occasions, the president of the nation has reversed himself, knowing that the policy he brought out was not too popular or will not achieve the kind of intended objective he wanted. So a lot of things are happening in the country, and it is time for us to make sure that we converge and ensure that those loopholes that we have observed within the system, we bring an end to those things, and we move forward. And we need to move very fast. We need to introduce sense of urgency, because the population is bloating every now and then, and the resource is not there. So the government needs revenue, and we have the expertise in the institute as to how you can sustain public finance with tax revenue. That is our focus, and that is what we are doing. And it will get, the American will say sometimes it gets worse before it gets better. So, and I think that is what we are seeing. The conference is to ensure that we look critically into those aspects of the economy that particularly fiscal and tax policy that will require tinkering with by government at various levels. And of course, it is not about government alone.
Yes.
We need a lot of, we need to educate our people. We need to refresh our mind as to those things that will make us do things better than we are doing before. The outlook of the economy is changing. What is happening in the ICT space is enormous. Nigeria cannot afford to be left behind. And the government is grappling to ensure that things are done properly. Some of these things we need to discuss so that the country can benefit from the kind of people we have at terms of affairs. And they can't do it alone. The professionals across the country need to support. We need to keep on putting up our thinking cap to see how these various policies and laws coming from the government are next to ensure that we have a brilliant future ahead of us.
Interesting. Dr. Sonny, let me ask you this next question. I'm going to also get the president's view on it. After this gathering, what is next? Are you coming up with any papers that you're going to give to maybe government or recommendations? Let us know what this is.
There is definitely going to be a communique that is going to be coming out of this paper, this conference. At the end of the conference, the communique that comes out, the institute, has this, that every time we do our conference, we finish our conference, we present the communique to the government, and we bring out issues that have been identified, solutions that are being proffered by experts on how to solve some of those identified challenges. And a number of times, I can tell you, the government has always heeded to most of these things that we've sent to them. I'm sure the president must have mentioned earlier to you that part of what we see today, the Finance Act that we see, which corrects some anomalies that we have in the tax laws that we have in Nigeria, it was as a result of the constant effort of the Charter of Taxation of Nigeria singing this into the ears of government, and eventually they took to it, and we see now the Finance Act thing has become an annual ritual where the government uses it to correct some of the anomalies or things to update the tax laws that we have in the country presently. So sure, the communique will be presented to the government.
Interesting. You want to say something around that? Whatever document will come out of that meeting, how are you going to push it?
Of course, we have our people across the structure of the country. Good. And of course, when you have people who are also interested in knowledge at the ends of affairs, that is certain. And one thing I need to add to what Dr. Sonny said is that some of these governors that are coming are members of the institute, senior members of the institute, so they know the culture, they know what is at stake. And I must add that somebody who has touched the taxation landscape in Nigeria is also coming. That's the past chairman of FRS, past chairman of LRS, Mr. Babatunde Fowler. So he has agreed to be in that program. So we have a lot of people that this program may not allow us to mention. So it won't be difficult because we are coming with objective. We expect objective outcome that will help the nation to move to the next level.
So, Dr. Sonny, a parting shot from you. What more do you want to say about this as we wrap up?
What I want to let my people know is that this annual tax conference is more than just an event. It's actually a strategic platform for shaping the future of taxation in Nigeria. And it actually promises to be an enlightening and engaging week for everyone involved in the dynamic field of taxation. It's going to be hosting the highest gathering of tax professionals sitting together under the same roof ever in the history of Nigeria. So it's not an event that anybody wants to miss. And coupled with the fact that we have, a number of experts who are going to do justice to the theme of the conference. So you don't want to miss it. Even Tolu, you don't want to miss it. Tolu, how come I miss the fact that you are part of the moderator for the conference, and I missed your name out as part of the moderators for the conference. So you're going to be there, and you'll see how that.
All right, then. See you in Abuja next week, God willing. Thank you so much, Dr. Adeyemi Sonny. There is the chairman of the 26th Annual Tax Conference. We'll see you in Abuja next week, God willing. President, sir, what more do you want to tell us as we wrap up this conversation? A lot around taxation. Tawo Yedele Committee is still doing a lot in the kitty. I think they are releasing it bit by bit. What do you make of that as we wrap up?
Well, I think the Tawo Yedele's committee should give hope to people. And good thing, a lot of members of CITN, including the Oyedele himself, are senior members of CITN. So a lot coming. We are looking after this time having different type of taxes, not more than 10. That will be a major breakthrough in the Nigerian tax system, from average of 60, 65 to bring within unit. That is manageable, and I think Nigeria will be happy to see this government implementing that. I know the committee is rounding up, and the committee has a lot of good information for the country. I tell our members and the general public, this is a peculiar time in the country that if you are a professional and you want to do well, you don't miss any major program. Any major program where knowledge is being shared, you should be there. And the coming conference in Abuja next week is a place that whoever wants to know what is going on in the country should be there.
All right, brilliant. There, that's the president, Mr. Samuel Agbelu. He is the chairman of council of the Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria, CITN. Thank you so much, and have a great conference.
Thank you for the.
We'll have this discussion after the conference so that we assess what has played out and some submissions there.
We'll be happy to have that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.